Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going through a series of video presentations for the Rankin Technical College AWD1100 C# programming language class. The book we're using for the class is Muroc C# 2015, and I've been going through the object-oriented programming section. I've lectured on Chapter 12 and then re-lectured. We're skipping 13, and I've done 14. And I've started to go over an example for 14 also. Alright, so I want to continue on then with that particular example. So far we had looked at an abstract employee class, which I'm not going to go over again, and an hourly worker class. So now we go to the piece worker. And you'll notice, just like we had with hourly worker, we've got our constants. And again, these could be changed. Alright. And we have our new instance variables, which are pieces and price per piece. Alright. Then we've got our no-arg constructor. I'm just setting them to the default. And again, you can see we have our full-arg constructor, where just as previously, we are letting the parent, which is employee, handle first name, middle initial, last name, is union, and employee numbers. Again, piece worker inherits from employee. And just like before, we're coming in here when we're doing the pieces and the price per piece, we want to make sure that we are able to come in and parse this value into an integer. If we can't, we set it to the default. If we put in a value less than 0 or greater than, I think it was $1, no, that was 100 for the maximum pieces, we set it to the default. Otherwise, okay, the value is valid. Same kind of thing in price per piece. We first want to come in and parse this into a double. If we cannot, we set it equal to the default. It's less than 0 or greater than $1, we set it equal to the default, which I think was 50 cents. The earnings in here now are different. So you'll notice that the earnings in here are pieces times price per piece. Now this, probably there would have been a better way of doing it, because all of this information up to about here is the same information that I had in the previous one for the hourly employee. So we probably could have put that in its own routine as well. Alright, so that is hourly. Commission, same kind of thing. We come in here, there's our different rates, our minimum rate, maximum rate, default rate, minimum sales, maximum sales, default sales. Maybe 10,000 was a little low, doesn't really matter. Commission rate and weekly sales are the instance variables for this class. And again, for the no-arg constructor, we are again setting them equal to their default. Again, this also inherits from employee. So when we've got our full-arg constructor, we are again asking the parent, which is employee, to handle first name, middle initial, last name, is union, and employee number. Same kind of thing with our commission rate. We want to make sure we can parse it into a double. After we do that, if we can't, we set it equal to the default, which was I think 25%. If it's less than a minimum, which was I think it was either 0 or 10, or greater than the maximum 33, we set it to the default value, otherwise it's an acceptable value. Same kind of thing with weekly sales. Alright. The get is just a return. All these gets are just returns. The set, we attempt to go in there and parse that into a double. If we cannot, we set it equal to the default weekly sales. Otherwise, if it's less than 0 and greater than 10,000 or whatever those were, we set it to the default. Otherwise, it's valid. Calculating the earnings, it's just the commission rate times the weekly sales. And again, this stuff up to here is all the same. It's interesting. Oh, there we go. Alrighty. Then we've got our salaried employee, which again inherits from employee. The minimum salary we're saying is $1,000 a week. The maximum is $20,000 a week. The default is $5,000. Generous salaries. All right, we have only one property in here, one instance variable. and that's weekly salary. All right, with a no arg, we're again setting equal to the default. Otherwise, we're setting it in here, and we're letting the parent, which is employee, handle first name, middle initial, last name is union, and employee number. There's only one field in here, so we again make sure we can parse it into a double. If we cannot, we set it equal to the default. If it's out of range, so this is our range check. If it's less than a minimum or greater than the maximum, we set it to the default. For the calculated earnings, it's just the salary. There's no calculation to do. All right, could have probably just right there just done a, instead of return weekly salary, we could have done a return on, like, I don't know, get salary or something like that. And again, this is the same as it has been. And that brings us to our checker, so to speak. And when you are running tests on this, you can't run too many tests. You can't. So notice I tried the full arg constructor here with no overtime. Got a couple of them, it looks like. And then we went in there, we did the setters, set everything, and then it should be redone to 1,000, 40 times 25. And then we run that to make sure it looks okay. And notice I've got employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. We could have come up with real names if we wanted to, etc. So you can see that as we work our way through here. So if I come in and save everything and run it, there's our employees. See, I'm working my way up. So here was all the default values. Here was the default values for some of the stuff. I don't remember what. All right, 40 times, no, that was 40 times 25. Here is some overtime. So you can see as we iterate our way through here, we've got a lot of different things that we checked on. All right. And that pretty much is it. So when I return in just a couple minutes, sorry this is a short video, but when I return in just a couple minutes, we will be going over the next chapter, which is Chapter 15. And Chapter 15 is on how to work with interfaces and generics. So I'll be back with that lecture shortly.